This is VOA News. Via remote, I'm Diane Roberts. The U.S. House January 6th committee voted unanimously Thursday to subpoena Donald Trump, demanding the former president's personal testimony. This as it unveiled startling new video from his closest aides describing his attempt to stay in power, resulting in the assault on the U.S. Capitol. The former president slammed the January 6th panel over the subpoena, asking why he wasn't called to testify earlier. Chairman Benny Thompson says Trump did everything he could think of to stay in office.
Donald Trump knew he lost. Despite this knowledge, Donald Trump went to court to contest the 2020 election, and he lost in court. The Electoral College met and declared Joe Biden the winner, yet Donald Trump continued to pull out all the stops in his attempt to stay in power.
Meanwhile, just blocks from where that hearing was taking place in the U.S. Capitol, the trial of a man accused with taking a key role in the January 6th attack on the Capitol was underway. The leader and founder of the right-wing extremist group, the Oath Keeper, Stuart Rhodes, and 4 associates are charged with seditious conspiracy in connection with the January 6th riot. Prosecutors have said teams of Oath Keepers guarded an arsenal of firearms and were prepared to rush them into the hands of extremists inside the Capitol if needed. A jury spared Florida school shooter Nicholas Cruz from death penalty Thursday for killing 17 people at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in 2018. The decision to send Cruz to prison for the rest of his life without parole is one that left many families of the victims angered, baffled, and in tears. One mother says she and her family are beyond disappointed by the jury's decision. This is VOA News. Ukrainian officials said Thursday Russia's forces used Iranian-made kamikaze drones and missiles to attack the Kyiv and Odessa regions Thursday. The officials said the drones, designed to crash into targets and explode, carried out a strike near Makariv, a small city located 50 kilometers west of Kyiv, where they say it destroyed critical infrastructure. Russian officials say Ukrainian forces have shelled a western region inside Russia near the border with Ukraine. AP correspondent Karen Chamis has more.
Local authorities said Ukrainian attacks have damaged a residential building in the western Russian city of Belgorod. The governor of the Belgorod region also said an unexploded projectile landed on a school sports ground. Vyacheslav Gladkov said a nearby village was also shelled, but there were no injuries. The reports of shelling within Russia led the Speaker of Russia's lower house of parliament to threaten an even tougher response to what he calls Ukrainian terror attacks. I'm Karen Chamas.
Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi Thursday accused the United States of conducting a failed policy of destabilization, the latest in his repeated efforts to blame the country's ongoing protests on a Western plot. The protests in Iran began nearly a month ago after 22-year-old Mahsa Amini from Iran's Kurdish region died September 16th after being taken into custody of the morality police for allegedly not following the country's strict dress code. Inflation sped up again last month as higher costs keep putting pressure on American households. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Magani reports.
The government says consumer prices rose 8.2% compared with a year earlier. On a month-to-month basis, they were up 0.4% from August to September. So-called core inflation, which does not factor in food and energy, saw the biggest yearly hike in 40 years, rising 6.6% over 12 months. That's a sign the Federal Reserve's aggressive rate hikes have done little to cool inflation pressures. It's the last inflation report before next month's elections. An AP Nork Center for Public Affairs research poll finds more Americans have a dim view of their personal finances, and many Republicans have been blaming President Biden and Democrats for spiking prices. Sagar Magani, Washington.
And recapping our top story, the U.S. House January 6th committee voted unanimously Thursday to subpoena Donald Trump, demanding the former president's personal testimony. This as it unveiled startling new video from his closest aides describing his attempt to stay in power, resulting in the assault on the U.S. Capitol. Via remote, I'm Diane Roberts, VOA.